Business and economy. How China has won over Peru. Is China winning against US?
For more than a decade, Peru's blueberries have rolled north to US supermarket shelves. But now, growers are looking at markets in China amid the new US tariffs. China has insatiable demand and has built a huge new port near Lima that cuts shipping time across the Pacific in half. Miguel.
Wow, you look at this. Because of President Trump's trade war tariff, right? Peru is looking at China to export their biggest export, which is blueberries. Blueberries, and China already invested and built the port Lima in Peru, which is gonna cut shipping time in half across the Pacific. So Peru can export more blueberries to Asia and China. So this is one of the China strategies, soft power to win over countries, even next to the US, Latin American countries. And this could be quite concerning, troubling, right? Because if you look at it, Chinese Communist Party, right, they try to dominate the world and their philosophies, and they may not be the great government, good government, and US may not be the best government, but the principles these two countries stand for are different. If you have good governments and good countries leading the war, we're gonna have more good people, like more good things happening around the world. But if you have a bad government or bad person, bad leader leading the war, then we could have a really more bad people in the war. That the war will be in trouble. So who do you support? Do you support the US or do you support China? Comment down below.
Half. Miguel Bentin is a general manager of major blueberry producer, the Valle y Pampa farm.
I believe the full potential of the Chinese market for our products has not yet been fully realized.
He said the farm began production in 2012 when the blueberry harvest was a tenth of the size it is today. Thanks to genetic innovations, varieties like Eureka Sunset can now grow in arid landscapes like the Pisco Desert.
Wow, look at this. Because of genetic innovations, Peru can grow a lot. In 2012, it's only a tenth of today's productions. Just imagine, that's quite a lot. Wow, is it really good for consumers? If you are genetic engineers or anybody who has a specialized in agricultural genetic engineering, comment down below. Is this food really good for humans?
The farm typically ships 60% of its blueberries to the United States and the rest to Europe. This year, though, it is planning its first big Chinese shipment to mitigate the impact of 10% in US tariffs. Peru.
Wow, look at this. US usually buys 60% of Peru's blueberry, and Europe the rest. Now, Peru is for the first time preparing shipments to China this year, 2025, because of 10% tariff to mitigate that. Because when you charge tariff or import goods 10%, Americans, they pay for it. Then you know what? They used to buy 2 boxes of blueberries. Now, I'm just gonna buy 1 box because it's much more expensive. So the demand goes down. So Peru, they're gonna have surplus of blueberries to export. So where would they go? They're gonna export to China. That's what's happening right now. And Peru overtook another country for being the biggest exporter of blueberry. Which country is that? Let's continue.
overtook Chile in 2021 as the world's largest exporter of blueberries. According to Peru's Foreign Trade and Tourism Ministry, U.S. tariffs could slow the fruit's booming rise that boosted Peru's exports by some $2.3 billion last year. Seller Kelly Montalvo told Reuters in May that the tariffs have affected her business because people buy less when the produce becomes more expensive.
While even seller, just individual vendor, street vendor, they understand tariff, because if you impose tariff, your products become more expensive, and who pays for it? Americans pay for it, right? Because President Trump imposed tariff. Americans pay for it, they buy less. Of course, they get less too, so they need to export it to other countries. So that's how China took advantage of this situation, right? President Trump imposed tariffs on every country around the world, almost every country around the world. So he's becoming the enemy of the world. Chinese government used to be the enemy, like travel maker around the regions, Southeast Asia and East Asia. Now because of President Trump's tariff, now US has become the enemy of the world, and China is becoming a friend of the world. It's very, very ironic. Do you think President Trump could have done differently? Maybe just target China instead of making enemies around the world? Why did he do that? Comment down below.
Exports of blueberries dipped 30% year-on-year in the first quarter of this year due to a change in harvest timing. Even as quarterly U.S. shipments ticked down, those to China rose from a lower base. Benteen is forecasting a noticeable increase to China as the harvest begins to peak around August. Peru's new Chinese-controlled port of Chancay cuts the sea journey times to Asia in half to just around 20 days, a big plus for keeping fruit fresh. Benteen called the port a game-changer.
Wow. Chinese port Chancay cuts the shipping times to Asia down to 20 days. So that's gonna keep the fruits fresh 20 days. And you know what? They had a bigger markets to export. Wow. So that's how China has been winning over countries using their soft power. They invest to develop infrastructure like ports, roads, and China has a free trade agreement with ASEAN. So that means that, if you export your products to Asia using my infrastructure projects like ports, you can have new markets. So Asia countries, they are also happy because they can also export the products to Latin America, South America, because it cuts the shipping time. It goes both ways, right? You can export, you can also import. It's a win-win situation. And in return for China's investing billions of dollars in infrastructure projects, you give Chinese businessmen, companies, licenses to operate in your countries. Chinese businesses grows new market because now they get access to newer markets, even in the backyard of the United States. Latin American countries, they are really close to US. So US should be using their soft power, right? They should be developing infrastructure and get exclusive access to the American companies. Hey, you go and do business, American companies, extract natural resources, whatever, for the benefits, and use it to dominate the world. They could keep doing that. And another way they can keep doing that is develop rare earth materials. Rare earth, Chinese has 90% of control around the world. So that's why President Trump backed down from tariff threat, because Chinese has a majority. Chinese restricted the export of the rare earth materials. They are required in defense. They are required in EV like Tesla, Elon Musk, he needed it, right? And so that's why the world needs rare earth materials processing. China has the technology to process rare earths. Rare earth materials, they are not so rare, but the processing technology, Chinese controls 90% of it. So that's a very, very big power. Wow, hopefully US could innovate. So how could US win again? They could win in AI, right? Like NVIDIA have the world develop AI technology using American technology, right? If the world countries around the world use NVIDIA chips to develop AI technology, they need to keep using American technology if they want to develop AI technology. So that's how America could be winning again over China. And it's really cool for American companies like NVIDIA as well, like Applied Materials, Lam Research. So all these companies, really good for them. If the world keep using American chips and technology, then Americans will stay be as powerful. So what do you think? Comment down below. And Peru emerged the world's largest exporter in 2022, overtaking Chile, right? For the blueberry. And US and Spain, Canada, Netherlands, and Morocco are also significant players in blueberry export as well. Not bad. But one thing for sure, Peru is the top when it comes to blueberry export. So another reason, the main reason why China won over Peru is because of they are able to cut their shipping time to 20 days. So the sooner you can make money, the richer you become. The same way you can do it in your personal life, right? I grew my portfolio from 14,000 to 242,000 70 times in 3 years. 3 years time. So if you could do that for your family, that would be really great. Of course, not everybody will be able to do it, but if you are determined to do it, I will help you. Go to my channel, Master Risk Stock Option Crypto, subscribe my channel, check out my playlist to learn more about stock investing, call option, put option, and advanced option. Useful links are in the YouTube description comment down below for you. Share, subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.